Hey everyone, what is going on? My name is RedArchLive and welcome back to the channel. In today's Payday 2 video, we're going to be doing a bit of a discussion with regards to content on the console versions of Payday 2, that being Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And in this discussion, we're going to be talking about the different ways in which the ending to Payday 2 that we saw on PC back in 2018 could be somehow incorporated onto the console versions, so that in whatever way, shape or form, the console players do get some kind of an ending in the face of all the issues we're having with future content updates. There's a lot of people throwing their thoughts around on what content should come to consoles first, but what I see a lot is people talking about the ending of the game, being able to beat it, see the cinematics and get out and, have the ending to the story on consoles, and it's a fair point. We should really have it in some way, shape or form. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking through the different ways in which they could do this and which ones I think are more feasible or less feasible, to give some ideas to Overkill, because hopefully they'll be watching this and they can take some thoughts from it if they're developing any further console content. And once I've done this discussion, I would very much welcome you in the comment section to let me know which theory you think is most likely, which one you'd prefer, and also if you have any theories you'd suggest that I hadn't thought of. But before we roll the intros, a quick reminder to anyone who didn't know and didn't hear before, a month or two ago I sent a full list over to Overkill containing every single piece of content that consoles are missing. And I don't just mean heists, I mean every single mask or weapon or anything like that, all the tiny details that we don't have on consoles. I sent them a big list and said, here are all the things missing, because I do think there might be some things like guns, etc. they've just forgotten to add and lost track of what was there and what wasn't. An update is still not guaranteed for consoles, but it would be nice to see some of this content come over. But with that being said, let's talk about how the ending for Payday 2 could come over to consoles, and let's begin by rolling the intro. So as I said, I'm going to discuss a few different ways here in which the ending to Payday 2 could come over to Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I've got a few different theories here, some are much stronger than the others, but I wanted to discuss them all, and then leave it to you in the comment section to discuss which one you think is best. So let's start with the most obvious one, which is the one we're going to have to debunk immediately. This one is a one and done thing, I don't need to spend much time on this, but obviously the first answer people would give is, why don't they just add all the content? Well, first off, if you haven't seen my video discussing what went wrong with Payday 2 on consoles, I thoroughly recommend you go and watch that video. I did a full essay breakdown of the different reasons why console content has been problematic for Overkill in recent years. But the skinny of it is that there are staffing and financial issues mainly that are preventing them from actually making more updates for consoles, and then also with the staffing money they've got, they're working on a very bad antiquated game engine called Diesel that doesn't really allow for a lot of skill in porting content. A lot of the content they make has to be rebuilt from the ground up, which requires a whole separate team. As I said, far more is explained in that video, but the gist, like I said, is that it's very difficult to develop this content. And previously, several items were stated by Mikhail Nermark, Starbreeze's CEO, as things that were definitely not going to be coming over to consoles anytime soon. This included things like the new Safehouse and the White House heist, two things that are detrimental for the ending of Payday 2. And so right away, almost as a way of starting off this debate, we can say that we're not going to be able to add every single piece of content, and so we won't be able to get the ending the normal way. So as our first theory, adding all content, that one's out the window, that cannot happen. The second theory is actually a personal favourite of mine when I was storyboarding these different ideas for this video, and it's to actually upgrade the safe house that we have, just so keep the same safe house that consoles have, but add the content in that you need for the Easter egg within there. And this would include adding in items from heists that we cannot complete. For instance, you need the obsidian tablet from the Shacklethorn auction heist, that you could add that object into the safe house ready for the Easter egg, and you just have to get the items from the heists that you can play. For instance, you need one of the coffers that you find in Golden Grin, you need the medallion you find in Brooklyn Bank. You could get some of those over into the safe house by doing those missions, but the objects you can't use, such as Scarface's piano or the obsidian tablet, they could all be added into the map at base, so that once you've done the heists you can do, you can then combine everything together, do the Easter egg in the main safe house, and trigger the ending. Now after this, there'd be some flexibility, because we wouldn't be able to play the White House, we still wouldn't be able to get the ending the natural way, and so I think really once you've done the Easter egg, it would then award you with the cutscene at base and just say you completed the ending, here's the main ending for the game, here's the bad ending, the good ending, and so once you've done the Easter egg steps, you're done. Simple. This is a good method because it doesn't need the new safe house, it doesn't need any more heists than what we've got, because it will provide the content that we need from the heists that are missing, and also doesn't involve them having to rework an entire safe house. It's just adding a bit of content into the safe house we currently have to make things a bit easier. There is literally a room where you practice opening doors in the safe house. You could quite easily put a table in there, plant the stuff on there, maybe put a piano next to it, bam, done, nice and easy. So that's theory number 2, and as I said, that's a personal favourite of mine. But let's move on to the next theory. This one seems like it might be a bit of a one and done thing, and I know I've already said a lot of this content isn't guaranteed to come over, but there is an option for them to just pick one heist, one final heist, and add it over onto consoles. This links back to something I said in one of my previous videos a year or so ago, where I discussed the fact that Overkill needed to give console players the White House. And as I said in that video, while it would suck to only get the White House and not get the rest of the content we're missing, it would at least give us some kind of closure. And so while the White House has been confirmed as one of the things that's harder to develop for consoles, if they focused all their efforts with whoever they have on consoles left just into that one heist, get that working, get that stable, get that out there on consoles, then we could play the final mission. They could give us some backstory, they could get Ian Russell to do some more voice lines for Locke, to fill it in, give a different commentary on consoles, to say, okay, here's what we've done, and he can chronicle the things that you missed via the briefing at the start of the heist. So he could say, we've broken Bane out of Hell's Island, we did the flashback. He can explain all that in the heist briefing nice and easily to account for the things that we don't get to play on consoles. And then we can play through the White House, get the bad ending, get that cutscene. And my idea was, afterwards, to unlock a separate version of the White House called the White House Secret version, or whatever you want to call it. And that time you would go in, play the White House heist, but you do the secret. And so you'd end up on CrimeNet having two options, White House and White House Secret, and you could pick which one you wanted, depending on which one you wanted to do. Having these two options in as two different separate heists would make it a bit easier for us to get some kind of ending and get some kind of conclusion. The slightly less taxing cop-out version would be to just give us the basic White House, and when you finish, get both cutscenes. You get the bad ending, you get the good ending, and that's it, you're done. You've played the ending, you just didn't get to quite see how you killed the dentist and saved Bane and all that stuff. But either way, that's my second theory, and this is the one that I would personally think is the most feasible for Overkill, at least if they're going to bother to add the ending into consoles. Now this theory, let me be honest, is the worst one, and it's one that I'm putting in there because I kind of expected if they're going to add anything, this might be what Overkill do. But another option they've got is to add just the ending cutscenes into the game at the end, and then have some kind of chronicle explaining what happens. You remember on PC when the ending came out, there was a big long cutscene after the live action clip of Offshore Payday that explained where all the crew members went after they finished their heists. They could do something like this again on console to fill in the gaps in the story, to say, here's what happens, and then afterwards allow us to see both ending cutscenes. This one, I don't like for a number of reasons. First off, let's say explaining the ending on consoles without letting us play anything new is just stupid. It's like, hey, you don't get anything new, here's just everything you missed out on, and it kind of bookmarks the console will never get another update. And right now, while we haven't got a confirmation that there won't be a new update, we also haven't been confirmed that there will never be another update. We're kind of in like a middle ground in flux situation here, and so that would dead mark it as we're done on consoles. And not to mention, just adding the cutscenes in, what's the point? You could literally go on YouTube and watch the clips for yourself. You could even fuel my ego by watching them on my channel. I mean, come on, you got plenty of options. Sorry. But you get the point, it's not really worth it. And so this idea of just giving us the ending cutscenes is a bust for me. While I think Overkill might even consider it, I'm not sure whether they have or not, I would strongly suggest they don't bother with that, because what is the point? And that's the final one of my theories for this discussion. So a few different ideas that I want to put across to suggest how Payday 2 might get the ending on consoles. And now, more importantly, I want to know what you guys think about these different theories, which one you think might be more likely, which one you'd prefer. I know a lot of you, if I say which one would you prefer, would just say adding all the content. I know, I get that, I agree. To me, it sucks that I can load up Xbox One Payday now and see just how much further behind it is compared to PC, because despite what people say to me, I still play on my Xbox far more than I do on a PC. I want it to be on consoles, and I'm with everyone in just not being that happy that it never really worked out the way we wanted it to. I'm very grateful for what we got, though. We got treated far better on the current gen of consoles than we did on the last generation. But, you know, there's always room for improvements. But more importantly, what did you think about all these theories? Let me know, as I said, in the comment section down below. Discuss all the things that you think about this video. Slide in some debates and some extra topics that maybe I didn't cover with regards to this. Do you have a better idea as to how you could actually add the ending to Payday 2 on Xbox One and PS4? Let me know. I'd be very interested to see what you've got to say. If you have enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It would be greatly appreciated. And hit that subscribe button if you're new, because it's quick, it's free, and I'll always love you for doing so. And if you fancy supporting me a bit more than you already do from watching, liking, commenting, and all that good stuff, then feel free to hop over and have a look at my Patreon. Donations are never expected, but they're always appreciated and will always go to support myself and the channel to keep things going. So head to the link in the description or on the top right corner of the screen if you fancy going out and having a look at that. But beyond that, I'll see you next weekend with a brand new video. Until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon.